Hey,
Hi.
I don't have a webcam on this computer. I have
That's
one, but I didn't plug it in, so.
no, it's fine. Hi there.
Hi. So I need to figure out how to share my screen, I guess.
Yeah, there's a small toolbar on the left-hand side
Yep, I see it says
that has the
control room.
green, white, yellow, and green, white arrow
Oh,
on
okay.
green.
Screen share. Okay, here we go. Application window. This one. Ha! Okay.
There we go.
Okay. Uh, do we want to wait and see if anyone else joins the meeting?
We can give it a minute, but yeah.
Okay, so I
So
think
I
it's
guess
also,
you're already live, right? So you're recording and
it is recording, and I think I have a YouTube. Let's see. Here we go. Aha, you're on YouTube.
yes,
Yes.
internet famous.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Okay. Oops. There, I turned off my YouTube video that was playing and echoing everything. Sorry about that.
I didn't hear it. I guess it was only for you. So.
Oh yeah, I was probably hearing it in my headphones. And
Hmm.
okay. Anyway, I posted the YouTube link also in case anybody wants to just watch and not ask questions. Yes.
Great.
Um, so we. Oh, there's Antje.
Yeah. Hi, Christina.
Hi
All right.
there.
Hey.
Hey.
Sounds good.
Okay. Do you want me to start, or does anyone else have?
Yeah, let's start. We usually say welcome to the Drupal usability meeting of November 14th. Today we'll be looking at the proposed new help system, and Jennifer is going to tell us all about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe can you describe a bit the context, right? There was a
Yeah.
problem and you wanted to fix it, and what your proposed
Right.
improvement is.
So we've had this help system since whenever in Drupal 4 days or something like that. So if you go to admin help in a Drupal site, you would see these module overviews, and it used to be just called the help. And sometime early in the Drupal 8 cycle, we changed it so it says module overviews, so at least you know what you're getting. And if you click on one of these things like, the node module, you get this help text that Antje and I worked on back in the Drupal 7 cycle anyway, that tells about what the node module does and what its uses are. And every module, whether it's contrib or core in Drupal, can create one page of help. And if you know what module you are trying to use, then you can go there and read a little bit about it. But it's a pretty limited help system and not exactly very helpful. So I can go through a bunch of the main problems that this has are each module can have one help page. There's no help pages for themes. There's no help pages for distributions. Just one per module.
Only
It's not.
modules.
Yeah. So that's the main problem, is that it's not really a help system. It's just a list of modules and a little bit of an overview of each one. So back early in the Drupal 8 cycle, I proposed making a new module or adding to the help module that would allow you to have an actual help system where you could have topics that were provided by modules or themes or installation profiles, or that maybe site administrators could make for writing help for their own site, like, help for their content moderators or whatever. And so then you would list those on the help page and get more options. And so I made a sandbox project and then tried to get it into Drupal core in the Drupal 8 cycle, and it didn't make the deadline. And one thing that I did get done is that, or me and of course a lot of other people, is we updated the help page so that any module could add sections to it. So the tour module now has a section that shows you tours that are available on your site. And then this sandbox module called configurable help has a section on the help page that lists configured topics. And that's what I was going to demo today. Is that enough background for everybody? Anyway, okay. Yeah. I'm going to assume it's enough background. Just jump in, or I'll try to monitor, see whether the UX channel on Slack has questions coming in. And also, I'm trying to have as many windows open as possible. That's why I said I needed another monitor. So anyway, so let me just show you what the output is first, and then I'll show you the administration page and talk about the status of this project. So as I said, this configurable help module, which we're looking for another name for, by the way, but anyway, at the moment it's called configurable help. What it does is it allows you to designate certain topics that you've written or that came from modules as top level topics. And each of the top level topics is shown in the configured topics section on the admin help page. So I wrote a few topics for the module. So for instance, you could read the section about making your site secure just by clicking on this topic. And as you can see, there's not much content on here, but it shows some related topics. So you can read about configuring error responses. And then when you're on this page, you've got headings and paragraphs and bullet lists and stuff like that, which you can author using the administrative section that I'll show you in a minute. And each topic has the ability to list related topics. So if you're on the configuring error responses page, you've got a related topic about changing basic site settings. And it also has the ability to link you to pages on your site. So if you click on logging and errors, that's going to take you to admin config development logging, and it's going to show you, it's going to take you directly to that administrative page. So, and then also within the, you can also make links to other help pages within the text, so that's kind of useful. So if I click on basic site settings, you can see that page, and you'll see that the configuring error responses page is listed as related there as well, so you can get back. So basically, it allows you to make topics that have bullet lists, definition lists, numbered lists, and headings and paragraphs and stuff like that. And then you can link them to each other pretty easily. And also make links to URLs within the sites. For instance, if I click on regional settings here, it's going to take me to the admin page where you set up your time zone and stuff like that. So, so anyway, that's what the output of the help looks like. What did you say?
Can I add images, screenshots?
Not yet.
Nope. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so this module is available right now as a sandbox on Drupal.org. Here's the sandbox page, and I guess you can't quite see the. Oh, I guess you can see it. I can't quite see the URL at the top, but you can see it. Anyway, there's the sandbox page. I'll paste the URL of that into Slack, just for fun. And then on the issues page for that.
Could you read out the number for the recording?
Yes. Oh, it's drupal.org/sandbox/jhodgdon, which is HODGDON/2369943. That's the URL of the sandbox page. And then if you go to that sandbox page, it explains what the current status is. And there's an issue page, of course, because it's a Drupal project. And if you scroll down to the bottom of the issue page, you'll see that there is an old issue that's a feature request, which is add a way to manage images, which has not been done as of yet. But anyway, and another feature that it doesn't have right now is a way to search or an index. It just allows you to make a hierarchy kind of pages, but it doesn't allow you to search right now. That's something that would be pretty easy to add, but just hasn't been done. So, and as you can see, by looking at this issue page, there's been quite a bit of work lately. So that's good. Andy Post and Amber Mats have been helping with code, and a few other people have been reviewing and things. So we've been doing some cleanup on the code and a little bit of cleanup on the user interface. So let me just show you the admin page that comes with this. So as I said, if you go to the help, the main admin/help page in your site, you'll see the top level topics here. And if you go to the administrative page, then you can actually edit those pages. So this is the admin page for help. So this is in admin/config/development/help. And that's where it's going to list all of your help topics. The columns here, if you click on a title, it's going to take you to that page, same as you were seeing there. Each topic is either listed as a top level topic or not, and only the top level topics are the ones that are shown on the admin help page. And then the topics that are provided by modules should be locked by default, which means that you can't edit them, but you can go to the administrative page and actually unlock them if you want to edit them. And then the other thing that you can do is you can add a brand new help topic that's specific to your site. So I'll just demonstrate the edit form by clicking on Add New Help Topic and show you what it looks like. So every topic has a title. So this is going to be on, let's see, moderating content. Can't type as usual. You want to make this a top level topic so that it's listed on the page. And here you can list topics to list for the related section. So you can do relationships both directions. So you can list topics here as related, and that will, when you're viewing the moderating content page that we're creating, it will list all the topics that you have here. And you can also say, not only that, but when you're viewing these other topics, I want you to list my topic on this other page. And that allows you to, as an administrator, to create a topic and say, I want it listed on this topic that was provided by another module. So that's kind of useful. And that way, Module A and Module B don't have to have interdependent help topics, because Module B can say, I want to list my topic on Module A's help. So that's kind of useful. So you can start typing the name of a topic, and it'll show you the machine name as well as the human readable title. And it has a little, it's like a tag style autocomplete. And you can edit the machine names as well if you want to. You can also list module and theme dependencies, because these are config entities, so they get exported with dependencies if you want to. And now the meat of the editing is down here in the body. And what you do is you can add like a heading that might say overview of moderation. And then you can add another item. Hopefully it'll work. Oh, good. This is how to moderate stuff. And you can add another item that's a bullet list item. And so on. And what happens is when the help gets output, if you have two bullet list items in a row, they'll turn into a bullet list together. And then if you have a numbered list item next, it'll start a new numbered list and so on. And you can make description lists, and you can add code and regular paragraphs and headings and subheadings. So that's just the basics of editing. And the reason for doing it this way rather than having an HTML editor is because when it comes time to translate a help topic, you actually want to translate it in paragraph-sized or smaller chunks so that we can do it on localize.drupal.org and not have to have a big, huge wall of text for a translator who's used to translating small pieces of text to translate. So if I save this, I'm bumped back to my help topics page, and then here we are, moderating content. So I'm going to go ahead and view this in a new tab, switch over to that tab, and you can see that's the exciting help topic that I created with a header, a paragraph, and a 2-item bullet list. And I guess I put in a related topic. So anyway, that's kind of an overview. From here, if you're viewing a topic, you can click on edit or delete just like you would on a node page. And if you had the internationalization modules set up, there would also be a translate tab on each topic, and also on the help topic admin page, translate would show up as a as an operation for, at least for unlocked items. So you have to unlock an item if you want to edit it, if it came from a module. So any questions so far?
Nice.
Yeah.
That would mean I don't have to kind of send links to Google Docs for telling people what they needed to do with their content.
Right.
So that would be a great idea to actually give help to the administrators of the actual existing site later.
Yeah, that was my original motivation for doing it, really. So, and the other thing I should show you is if you do write a topic, if you're a module developer or a theme developer and you write a topic and you want to include it with your module or theme, these are config items. And so you can go to, let's see if I have that module. You can go to configuration synchronization, export, single item, and then choose help topic, and oops, hold on, help topic. Oh, here we go. Just didn't get the message here. And now you can choose any particular help topic, like this one that we just created, and export it and save it in your config/install or config/optional directory, just like any other configuration. So that's how all of those help topics here, all of these help topics are included in the config help module as config/install. So that's how all of those got in there by exporting them. And you export and take out the UUID line just like you would for any other configuration that you wanted to include with a module. So, and that's basically why I made it a config entity, even though it's kind of content. So.
That makes lots of sense to me, and it would mean that it's much easier to actually for somebody to write that kind of help or documentation that's needed without having to dive into the module PHP file.
Right. All I have to do is write it and then go to this export page and save it as a file name, which it helpfully, the export page tells you what file name you need to save it as. So it's fairly straightforward. And then, if you're going to export it with a module or include it with a module, you have to take out the UUID line is all.
And because it's config.
What's that?
Yep.
Because it's config, it can also be translated on localized.drupal.org if it's included with the module. Because
and it doesn't show up. It doesn't show up in my content listing. Right? I was going to check. Right?
No, it doesn't because they're configured.
It's not content. Yeah.
Right. It shows up on this help topic administration page at admin config development help.
Yeah, and only there or in the UI.
Right. So it doesn't mix up with all the nodes, the regular content on your site. You don't have to have some content permissions module to hide the administrative help pages from your regular site visitors and stuff.
Yeah.
I actually had a question about permission because that's now living on the normal help page.
Yeah. So there are a couple of permissions. My
first question would be because we only have one permission to see the admin pages and the help page together.
Yeah. Okay. So
that's a core problem that we now, if you want to go to the help page, you'll also get the access to structure and configuration page.
Right.
And I can see those topics really useful for actual content editors later.
Yeah. Okay. So the configurable help module itself has 3 permissions. One is to administer the help topics. That allows you to edit and edit any unlocked help topics and create new ones. And then there's a separate permission for locking and unlocking help topics. So as a super admin, you could lock topics so that people could not edit your topics or not edit. And regular editors of help topics could not unlock the ones that are provided by modules or whatever is locked. So again, on the help topics page, you can see that some topics are locked. There's an unlock operation, which you have to have permission for, and a topic that's unlocked, which I guess the new one I created is locked. Hold on, moderating. Okay, no, the new one I created is not locked by default. You can lock it from here if you want to. But so that one would be editable by people that have the editing permission, and I, who am this user 1 on this simplytest.me site, can lock it if I wanted to make that not possible. And then there's a third permission for viewing the configured help topics. And I think, so I believe you still need to get, you still need to have use administrative, I don't know, what's the system permission called that lets you access the admin help page?
It's called user administration pages and help, which I think should be 2 different permissions anyway.
Okay, well, that's a separate issue, but so that's right. So we could file an issue to separate that out into 2 permissions. That would be pretty straightforward to do. That's part of the system module currently, and we'd need to make a separate permission in the help module. And this is, my module is an extension, a separate module. It's anyway. So there's a separate permission for viewing configured help topics. And right now, that permission would let you view any help topic on the system, not just specific ones. It's not granular. But I mean, that could certainly be done. You know how these things can be. Right now, there aren't any categories or whatever. So, yeah. And the URLs.
That people can actually get to those help topics.
Right. So. Yeah, I mean, you could make a page that listed them somewhere. Or put a link in the shortcuts or whatever you have. If you have a dashboard or something like that. So so you would normally have to you would normally see the links by going to the admin help page. But if you don't have permission to go to I think if you don't have permission to go to admin help, you may not be able to see these ones either. We'd have to check on that. Yep. Okay, and so as far as issues go, there are 2 issues. There's several issues. There's an issue that's Drupal.org node 2592487, which is the ideas queue issue about please let's update the help system. And the proposal is to add this module right now as a experimental module to Drupal core as soon as possible. There is a Drupal core issue, which is node Drupal.org node 2920309, which is the issue. This actually has a patch to add exactly what you just saw to Drupal core. And the way I set up the simplytest.me site that I just demoed is I used the Drupal 8.5 development version of Drupal and put on the latest patch from this issue that I just showed you. So if you want to test it out, that's the thing to do. And also on that issue, there's just a note to how to find the pages and stuff like that if anybody wants to test. And then, as I mentioned before, I have this sandbox project you can also install from the sandbox project. I'm keeping them in sync as much as possible, hopefully. And then if you look at the issues for the sandbox project, which is at drupal.org/project/issues/2369943, and that's also linked on that other issue, both other issues, then you can see what we're actually working on in the sandbox right now. And it's mostly sort of behind the scenes, cleaning up the code, moving some stuff around to different classes and stuff like that right now. And there is also an issue about writing more core help topics. And I made an outline on there about what topics I think would be useful to have. But my thought was to get this into core as an experimental module first. And then we can get an effort together to write more topics similar to what we did for the user guide, where each, a single person can write a single topic and export it and contribute that way.
Cool. Would it on the long run also be possible to move the current hook help texts into configuration files like this?
Yeah, well, I'm not advocating getting rid of the current hook help system, because a lot of modules already implement hook help, and we have a separate section on the admin help page for listing these module overviews, and I think we should just leave that as it is.
Okay, yeah.
And so then this help would be more, task-oriented help. So like I wrote some help about how to build a help system, which is how to use this module. And then I just started writing some generic topics about Drupal core type things to do. which are what these other ones are. So, you know, my thought is that we should have 2 separate systems. I think the module overviews are still useful, probably. The tours are useful, and the configured topics can be useful. And we need a new name for this module, by the way. So if you have input, there's an issue for that too.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Can you show the edit or create page once more?
Sure. Let me go back to this topic that we were working on and open the edit screen. There we go.
I did not understand the dependencies part.
Okay. So if you were a module developer and you were making a topic that was for your module, like let's say I was making a topic for the user module, you can put that in there, and if it also depended on the node module. Anyway, these will show up as.
So it says this help is about.
Yeah, it's just these don't show up. These don't show up on the page when you view. So if I save this now, this doesn't show up on the view page, which I've lost. Where was that? Moderating content.
Yeah.
It doesn't show up anywhere on the screen. It just shows up in the export of the topic because. So if I go back here and export this again. Hold on. Let me.
So it's metadata.
Yeah, it just shows up. It just gets put into the. Here we go. It shows up in the dependencies of the config item, so that if you then go and delete, this would be your contrib module would be here, and then if you went and uninstalled your contrib module, this help topic would go away as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you would have a help for translations if you have a site without translations.
What's that?
So if you have a dependency on one of the translation modules, for example, and you have a site without translations, then that wouldn't even show up.
Right, and you can put, because this is config, you can stick it in your module's config/optional or config/install, depending on whether this topic should show up no matter what, or just sometimes, so on.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So
which means we also
anyway,
have
that dependencies field is for authoring help that's going to be included in a module or theme. Right. And so it has a way to do modules or themes as a dependency.
That's a nice way of making sure that it doesn't get overwhelmed with too many topics then.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. Well, and of course, you can also, so if you felt like these topics were too overwhelming, you could also make your own top-level topic and list all the ones that are currently top-level topics as related on there, and then edit all of the existing topics and change them from yes to no as top-level, and then they wouldn't show up on the help page. So as an administrator, you can rearrange things as you wish.
Oh, I like that.
So have you considered outlining this as a menu where you would just put the children?
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
So the top level is as we are used to doing it in menu.
Yeah. So the problem is, it's not necessarily a tree, right? Because I can say topic A is related to topic B, and topic B is related to topic C, but it's not necessarily a tree. It's going to be kind of a network. So I'm not sure if a menu would.
Right. Okay. So.
Yeah.
A thing is top level or not top level, but not necessarily a explicit child of some.
Yeah.
Top level.
Yeah. There's no parent-child relationship. I just decided to make it have that list on field and a related field. Yeah. I thought about having a strict hierarchy, but it seemed like the related was kind of more versatile. It's just like I want this topic to be linked to this other topic.
I think it has a lot of sense and you have everything thought. I have to say that it's super cool seeing that, because I'm pretty sure most of the projects that we do could use that. But thinking in a user that is gonna use it, it's like, okay, what page am I? Where I came from? And it's like I would maybe need some kind of guidance for going to one page to another.
Yeah.
Because, for example, when you are you just jump into a topic, the only help that you have there for the context is the title and the breadcrumb, and nothing else.
Right.
And it's like you can just get a little bit lost. I'm not sure if the menu is the solution for that, but it's like, I don't know.
I agree with what you're saying. So we've had this problem on Drupal.org documentation as well, and that that one used to use anyway the book module, and now it's not. It's more of a it's more of little menus and things like that. Whenever we've tried to reorganize things, we've gotten a lot of feedback that nobody actually looks at the hierarchy on the sidebar on Drupal.org.
Yeah.
So I kind of agree with you, but I've been overruled on that a lot of times. And so I'm not sure how to make sort of breadcrumbs. I think a search or an index would help.
That's for sure. When you say that, it goes like, wow, that's right. It's a really necessary feature for a system, help system.
Yeah. So I guess that you could use a regular menu, like Drupal core menus module, and make a menu of help.
Yeah,
right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they all have URLs, so there's no reason you can't add them to a menu.
I also asked because even while you were demoing this sample page you were making, you had to go look for it, right?
Yes.
There's some other stuff, right? On Save, we could add a link to the actual thing you created in the message, in the success message, for easier retrieval of.
Oh, you mean like when it says help topic added?
Yeah.
Okay.
Help topic title.
I'll make a note of that and create an issue for it. Actually, include link to new topic. Okay, that's a good idea. The other thing is if you go to the help page, there's a limited number of topics there, and that new one that I created is one of the 7 topics because it's top level. So that's also helpful. But yeah, and I think the other thing I noticed is that after editing, it should probably take you back to the view page if you were started there.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it used to, but then it isn't doing that now. So I'll file an issue about that.
One thing that would probably be a little more complex, but something I was thinking about was having kind of a split pane interface where you kind of like if you have a markdown editor where you have a split pane and you're editing the markdown and then you can see how it's going to appear in the other pane. Since that, I remember the first time I was using the module, trying to get the idea of, I'm just doing one list item at a time and I'm not doing HTML, and just trying to learn, learn that, and having a preview of kind of a live preview of how it's going to appear might be helpful to people to understand how it's going to appear and also to learn the interface.
Okay. We could certainly, I'll file an issue on that. I think the easier thing to do would be to have a preview button like you do when you're editing content, which we don't have on there right now. That certainly could happen. As far as a live preview, I don't know how easy that would be. That would be somebody writing a lot of JavaScript, but having a preview button would be pretty easy to do.
Can we look at the edit screen once more?
Yeah.
Thank you. Because yeah,
I think the body section is the thing that kind of makes people have hang-ups.
Yeah, it's a whole new model. It doesn't exist elsewhere in core, right?
Right.
This pattern of how that you're really looking at very small chunks of content individually. Is the translation consideration really the basis for this decision?
Yes, the idea that if you're going to save it as a config entity, that you want each paragraph or heading or whatever to be a separate translatable string in the configuration.
Although I will say that it's very similar to the contributed module paragraphs UI. So I think there's a lot of familiarity with that module as well. So people might, it might resonate with them because of that module.
Right, but not necessarily in a good way, because paragraphs is not a shining example
Agreed.
of how to author structured content. There's a lot of Chrome here, right? I mean, that's what you get with the text formats and the allowed info. That's all the baggage you get when you add it. So that's not the fault of.
So another possibility would be to have an edit screen where you could just enter some sort of markdown and have it behind the scenes fix it up this way. The one advantage of the way it is currently is that you can actually use text formats on each piece. There are 2 text formats that are included with the module called help plain text and help HTML. But you can actually set up basic HTML and you get the editor. So you can put, I haven't set up, I didn't configure an editor to go with these text formats, but you can actually configure a WYSIWYG editor for each of the text formats. So that's another thing. You want to be able to put links in here.
Yes.
And you can put images in. There's just no way to actually upload the images from this screen.
Sure.
So, yeah.
I have to say that, yes, it could really shock me that the way of entering content, but it makes sense once you explain.
Yeah.
It's a little bit.
There is a little bit of help down at the bottom, of course, the field, because that's how Drupal does it.
Yes.
But anyway,
also
who's the target?
There's a couple tokens you can use that I haven't talked about. Anyway.
So that's another reason. Who's the target of this module? I mean, we are probably not talking about limited editors that doesn't have any experience at all.
No, we're talking about Drupal site builders and module maintainers, module and theme maintainers. So, yeah, I mean, obviously I created this thing, but I don't think it takes that long to figure out how to start writing help. But I agree, it is a bit of a shock to begin with. So yeah, I don't know what to do about that. I mean, having the help about this up at the top would be good, but I don't know. I could put it at the very top of the page, or actually I could put it here, right above the body, in bold. But nobody ever reads those things.
Says the person who's creating an help system.
Yeah, and so incidentally, there is, if you go to the help page, there is a whole section on building a help system, and I think it's only 3 pages long. So it talks about how to build a help system, just sort of an overview of how you would build a help system. Then there's something about the editing form that explains some stuff, except I don't think I have anything about the body in there.
This one is locked, right? So there's no edit tabs, right?
You can unlock it. Yeah.
No, yeah, okay, but I just seeing this page and then seeing the edit form would help understand what's going on.
Yeah.
So if you would edit an existing page, it probably helps learn or form your mental model of how this works.
Right, but it does explain
Versus
at least
the
your
blank.
question about what the module and theme dependencies are for.
Yeah.
So.
And I think as a site builder, once you see that the text goes into the YAML file, you'll also understand why are they going into individual boxes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I find the form looks to me kind of straightforward, and I think easy to get your head into.
Yeah. I mean, Antje is always an interesting persona as the more technical site builder, right? Who recognizes the value of being able to export this as configuration because reuse elsewhere, etc.
Well, then you can put it in your Git, in your source code control.
Maintenance, version
Right.
control, that's right.
Yep. So, yeah, to me, yeah. So my perspective on this is, I agree. The body is the thing that people go, oh my gosh, what are you doing here? And then after they play with it for a little while, they go, oh, this actually kind of works and makes sense. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure how to make it better. I'm not really in favor of making it markdown, because then you've got to parse the markdown somehow before you save the config. And you don't want to save the markdown in the config, because then you've lost the translation part. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So if you take a look again at the export and go down to the body, you can see in here there's the ID of what type of paragraph thing it is. So this is a heading, and then the text that's in there has the text piece and also a format. That's the text format for it. Yep. And then you've got a paragraph and 2 bullet items. So it's actually pretty readable as far in the config file as well.
If you would only provide one text format, the HTML one, and not the plain text one, would then the whole additional UI of choose your text format not be shown?
It allows you to choose any text format that's on the system.
Okay.
Right, and the reason I provided 2 was because if you're going to export configuration with a module and it has a text format associated with it, you better define that text format. So you can't assume that any site has basic HTML, restricted HTML, or full HTML formats on it. So all of the help that's exported with this module has either help plain text or help HTML as the text format. So, and if you add another item, I mean, the default format for help is the help HTML format, which kind of gives you a clue that that's what you should probably use if you're going to export config, since it comes with this module.
And how did you get the editor to show up again?
Oh, if you choose a text format that has an editor associated with it, it's just magic.
Okay.
It just happens. I haven't gone to the
because you focused the field, or no, basic HTML you switched. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, this is just a basic a regular field from Drupal core that has a format associated with it, and it automatically does the editor stuff if you've got the editor modules turned on. I just haven't configured I could have an editor for help HTML as well. I just haven't configured it.
Yeah, okay. Understood.
We could go to the WYSIWYG. This is by simplytest.me, so I didn't bother.
I'm easily confused by text formats. So.
Oh, yeah, well. Yeah, I think you're not alone. But anyway, the help HTML format that I defined only allows you to put in A-links, images, and then EM strong, and I don't know, cite and abbreviation. And don't ask me why I chose cite and abbreviation.
Okay.
So
one other thing I was wondering is just the order of things to fill out on this page.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, that's true.
The metadata bit to move it below the body.
Yeah. Okay. I'll. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I'll make.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking out loud, right?
Right.
suggestions.
I'm just going to make issues for all the things that I note here. I've got 4 right now.
Yes. I mean, in a next or third or fourth iteration, that I could see this use the same sidebar as we have in the node content form, something to do this. It's not necessary for now, but okay. But I think just having the title and then the body parts. And then the more.
Well, I think I would leave the machine name where it is because it goes with the title. Yeah.
That's right. That's
Yeah. And
sure.
I'm wondering about top level topic, whether that should be left up there.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you only have 2 levels then. Top level and other that are
top
not
level
and
just related. It's just a checkbox. Is it going to be shown on the help page or not?
Okay.
Yeah.
It's almost it's basically a promoted flag, right? Similar to the promoted.
Yeah.
Yep.
As in show on the help index.
Yep.
Yeah. The thing is the index. I'm a little bit confused with that index. I mean, I would expect something more. What I was saying more. I don't know how to explain it in English.
More hierarchical?
Yeah, exactly. Hierarchy? It doesn't have to be like that. It's just that it's what I was expecting.
Yeah.
We have an issue for that?
We have an issue for making an index or searching.
Yeah, no, we also have a core issue for making the existing help overview page, giving it a stronger hierarchy, because I would probably want to double the font size on the configured help topics versus something like that, right? I would really want to promote the configured help topics as we see them here, because they
exactly
would be the getting started, understanding Drupal parts versus the rather technical documentation that's part of the module help.
So you want configured topics to be in 5 points bigger font.
Oh well, we have ways to highlight stuff.
Yes. Yeah. We can make it red and blinking. Remember the blinking days? Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Does the getting started section stay? Or
this is actually the this is the hook help block. This is the help block on the help page.
So that would be the first configured help topic to.
Well.
Right.
Anyway, right now this is you know how a lot of pages have help blocks at the top. This is the help block for the help page.
Excellent.
I did not make this up. Yeah. At least we made it a little bit more helpful at one point.
Yeah, certainly. Okay. So, although this is a UX call, and I wouldn't necessarily be able to follow, but are there any? Is there something you would like or can show about how the code functions, right? Or is people knowing that it's config entities enough? Because if we want to have feedback on this for consideration, adding to core, etc.
Well, let me go, rather than look at the patch, let's look at the code repository in the sandbox, which has the same code in it. Hopefully. I'll just show you what's in here just to kind of give you an overview. So this is the top level with the module file. It's got menu link files and routing files and permission files and all that stuff. Under config, there's a config schema, which is the schema for the config objects, the help topics that are saved. Oh, sorry. And under config install, these are the topics that are distributed with the module currently, plus these 2 filter formats that we talked about, the plain text and the HTML help. Okay, And then templates, of course, there's some tests. There's automated tests also, I have to say. That's also good. There's some unit tests and some functional tests. Under the source directory, we have, let's not worry about, these are just kind of extra things mostly. There's a bunch of stuff that makes this possible. For one thing, there is a render element called text sections, which allows the rendering of the body part. And I can show you what I can show you what it actually looks like. Well, anyway, let's not worry about that right now. I'll go back to the source directory here. So that's what the render element is. There's an entity, which is the config entity for the help topic itself. And then there's some editing forms for that entity. The controller does the autocompletes, and the annotation is for, for the individual text sections. Okay, so then there's a plugin. There's two plugins in here. One is the help section plugin is that this module, that's what allows this module to say, I am a section on the help page. That's the help section plugin. We go back to the source file here. So that's an implementation of a plugin that's provided right now by the core help module. The text section plugin is a new plugin type that's defined by this module. And those are these bullet items and paragraphs and headings and things that are the little sections of text. So this module defines a plugin system for writing the body of the help. So that's what the plugins are. And that's also what the annotation is. So that's kind of an overview of the stuff. The rest of these files in here, like there's a help access control handler that just does the access control for the help topics. There's a little breadcrumb builder. There's a list builder that does the administrative page, route provider. Wait, list builder, I forget what's the view builder is what actually lets you view an individual topic. And then these text sections have some plugin manager type stuff. So let me go up one level and just show you. I also wrote the hook help. This module also has a hook help, and I wrote it using these text sections. So you can actually see on this page here, this is the config help module file, and you can actually see what a render array looks like for the type of text sections, the new render element that's defined. So, so again, this is the same format as you see in the exported help topics. So I have a heading that's called about, and then I have a paragraph that says the configurable help module adds blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Another heading for uses. So this is what creates that page. If you go to the help page and find configurable help, that's what creates this page. So I actually used the new render element to write the hook help just to show it could be done. So, yeah. So that's kind of an overview of the code. And there's a couple issues going on right now in that are kind of moving things around in some of the code, like moving some of the functionality that's in one class into a different class because it makes more sense there and stuff like that. But basically the code's been fairly stable for a while. Yeah, Andy Post and Amatiscu and some other people have been helping with that, and Amber's taken on an issue too, which we keep derailing. Poor Amber.
As we do.
Yes, like, oh, that part got subsumed into this one. The file that you were working on, you can't do that anymore. Oh well. So, poor Amber.
What's the next feedback or decision or
the next step
you need?
What I would like to have happen is that the ideas issue right now is a proposed plan, and I think Yorai, I think you were the one who made it a proposed plan. I would like to have it become an actual initiative at some point, and to do that, we need to have the product manager review, and that's why Angie Webchick asked us to asked me to come demo this here. And then I guess it needs a release manager review and a framework manager review, and then it can be approved as an official idea. And then we can go over to the core patch and get it to RTBC and add it to core as an experimental module. And then the next step would be to write some more topics.
Yeah.
But I don't want to start doing that until we actually get it into core as an experimental module, because it's kind of pointless.
I also think that the more help text you have already in there, the more bike shedding will be about the text in the help.
Right. That's why I wrote a few topics to be a proof of concept and to kind of show it might be useful. And, and then I didn't want to write any more, because we're going to have to, have an argument about what the outline of the topics ought to be. And yeah, we have an issue for that, but let's not make it, make getting this into core depend on that. Also, I want to point out, I actually have one of the issues in the Sandbox project right now is release as module, please. So, I mean, there actually are at least 1 or 2 other people using this module on their sites, and they wanted me to release it as a full contrib module, which I don't want to do, because it's just like advanced help. I don't want to have another module out here that other modules can use to provide help. It just needs to be in core. So.
Yeah, I would agree that.
So, I would propose to only include the help text about how to use the system.
Yep.
And add all the other texts then as patches onto whatever other core modules there are.
Yeah. Once we get it in as an experimental module, I think once it gets to be a full module, we can discuss whether it wants to be its own module or part of the help module and some other things. But until we get it into core and write some more help topics, if it's an experimental module, I don't want to go adding the configuration to other modules until it gets promoted to be a full module. And I don't think we can promote it to a full module until we've got more help. Kind of chicken and egg.
No, I think to me, that makes already sense as a full module. If it means I can write 3 pages for my administrative users to tell them what they need to do with these profiles and what they need to do with media items.
So politically, I think it needs to be an experimental module at this time, because there's no procedure for getting a module into core except starting with an experimental module. I can't even get the idea approved right now. So, right now it's a proposed plan, and the proposed plan is to get it in as an experimental module and follow the procedures so that it could eventually become a real module.
Yeah, it's good to know that we can move it to an improved plan. Or,
experimental module.
What do you say, Antje? Sorry.
I would really like to see this as an experimental module.
I think it's an excellent candidate for an experimental module. I agree. So,
anyway, we have to, according to the procedures for experimental modules, they've got to get signed off by either Angie. Is there someone else who's a product manager now?
I am.
Ah. Did you get promoted to full? I thought you were only provisional, but anyway.
Yeah, I was promoted to full last week.
Okay, I missed that. So you can sign off as being.
Yeah.
I have you down as provisional here, and Gabor also as provisional.
Yeah, we made it to full.
So anyway, these are the people that need to sign off. I also put in help subsystem maintainer, but we don't have one, and documentation maintainer, which used, of course, to be me, which we don't have one currently. And Angie thought probably the framework manager should be included in here, and I forgot to add that to the issue summary. But so anyway, we need a few sign-offs, and then we can get permission to actually work on the patch, which of course we've been working on.
Anyway.
And then we can add it.
Yeah. Okay.
No one actually stops you from working on core patches if you want to, but
no, exactly.
So. Anyway, so
you.
to me, like, I'm just trying to follow all the procedures, and the procedure is first to get the plan approved in an outline, and then to work on the patch. Of course, we're doing both at the same time because that's how we do things.
Yeah. And that's fair. So it's good to know what needs to be done now. I think you'll probably have to prepare. I think I'm convinced about the paragraphs like editor.
Okay.
probably need to defend it. Well, need to defend that choice, or defend. Let's say, I don't know. Provide a strong rationale for this.
Well, if someone can come up with a better way to edit the thing so that it
yeah,
still ends up in the right
the better
config.
idea would probably be Markdown, but then so what would help is if you could already explain why Markdown, why not Markdown, right? Where Markdown breaks.
I can explain why we don't want to store it as Markdown. Why we don't want to edit it as Markdown is more complicated. I think it just makes the whole thing more complex and takes you one step away from looking at the structure. But I'm not really against having it be. The problem is Markdown has a lot more to it, and I've made a sort of a limited set of these paragraph type things.
Yeah.
And the thing is, those are plugins. You can add more plugins if you want to. You being a module developer could define more plugins. So anyway, the side effect of this is that those plugins will be in core, which means the paragraphs module sort of, kind of.
Sneaky.
It's sneaky. But right. I mean, but there's now, there's a renderer for them and everything. So, yeah.
I don't know. I can't estimate the architectural impact this has, right? As you say, we're sneaking in a paragraphs light in a way.
Yes.
Okay. Is that something we want to do? Is that something?
Right. That's why Angie said we needed the framework module.
Yes, exactly.
Framework maintainer. And I agree that we need the framework maintainer on the patch. I don't know if we need the framework sign off on the idea, but probably since the patch is where it is, maybe that's true.
Yeah.
Anyway, excellent. I will add the framework maintainer to the issue summary here because I forgot about that. And then Roy, if you want to, you can sign off on this.
Yeah.
And I'll also mark you as not so provisional anymore. Has Gabor been promoted also?
Yeah. Larry, Gabor, Lee, and me. Lee Rowlands.
Okay, where is this? Is it in maintainers.txt yet?
It should be, yeah.
Okay, I'll get this. I'll get the information out of there. When I wrote this a couple weeks ago, it was just Dries and Angie.
That's correct. So, yeah.
Yep. Okay, I'll update that real quick, and I will make 5 more issues in the sandbox issue queue. So what we're doing is we're using the sandbox issue queue to discuss individual issues because it's a lot easier than having one big issue to discuss everything.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I mean, the sandbox was there, right, before even.
Oh yeah, I spun off the sandbox when I couldn't get it into core in the 8.0 era.
Yeah. Exactly.
Or maybe I even made the sandbox first and then tried to get it into core. I don't remember. But it's been around for a while, and so it has 2 pages of closed issues, or 1 page of closed issues anyway.
It's a mature experimental module,
yeah.
Thank you for this
issues.
extensive overview and introduction to what the thing does.
And this went way over an hour, so sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
No, it's great.
We all hung in there, so I think.
Yeah.
Where I think people.
And now we have a recording.
Even, yeah.
Supposedly.
Oh yeah. So, if people do not have any more questions. They probably do, but do they want to ask him now? Otherwise, we can call this a meeting. And thank everybody for attending.
Yeah, thanks a lot for your guys' comments. I will make up those 5 issues. So just to review, the 5 issues are when you add a new help topic, the message should include a link to the new topic you just created. After editing, if you started on the view page and went to edit, you should get back to the view page. A preview button, and maybe a live preview, but I think it's going to be a button. Change the order of the editing screen so the metadata is down below the body, and possibly making an editing sidebar like on the node page.
Yeah, but that last one's. Yeah.
I'll create the issues; they'll be there.
Yeah, exactly. It's an idea. Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm going to do all of them.
No, and if people want to help, what kind of expertise or skills do you need? Is it
right now?
Would it be writers?
Well, I wouldn't say we need writers right yet. Once we get the experimental module in there and we start writing topics, we'll make up we'll have an initiative and post it on the documentation thing like we did with the user guide. Amber and I and Joe Schindler organized the user guide effort, so we should be able to organize it sort of the same way to write topics. But right now, it's more coders for adding these little features and cleaning up the code and things like that. So, yeah, I don't know that we have. I mean, if somebody wants to start writing topics, I'm not going to say no, but we haven't really organized the effort, and nobody but me has looked at the proposed outline. So,
Cool.
Oh, the other thing, do you guys have any good ideas about the name for this module? Because configurable help is what I called it, because you can write the help and export it as configuration. But Andy Post suggested that maybe we should think of a different name, like and topical help is the other best name I came up with, because it's topical rather than module organized. I don't know.
I can't think of something right now, but I suppose
there's an issue. Right.
So if I think of something, I'll add it.
Yeah, there's an issue here called discuss name of the module. So you can add comments on there. There are only 5 comments on there, and they're all basically from me and Andy. So So yeah, we might want to do that before it. Well, it doesn't matter. We can always change the name. Especially, we can change the displayed name. So
great. It's a wrap, people.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. I'll see if I can figure out how to stop this thing and go from there. Okay. Thanks for coming. Thanks for all your feedback.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Stop.